Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama Rama Ram, Rama 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 Ram. Bhagwan Shri Yogi Ramsuratkumar ki jai. Sarvam Yogi Ramsuratkumar Arpanamastu. Once again, we have been able to sing His powerful name and offer as Nama Pushpas at His lotus feet. Again, it's a great gift of grace from Him, and we have to celebrate it and ever remain grateful to Him. We have been getting some glimpses from the life of Bhagwan sometimes, and sometimes we go through Leelas, the glory of His name, of His grace. And sometimes we go through His teachings, which are directly applicable to our everyday life. Today, we shall shift to Sanadi Street House. Now Bhagwan is seated there with Agaram Jayaraman and a few other devotees. And Bhagwan is speaking. Let's hear what he has to say. He said, some time back, this beggar went to the temple Arunachaleshwara. He came across a sannyasi there. The sannyasi understood something about this beggar, came near and shared his food with this beggar. This beggar accepted. He sat with him and shared that food. He gave a banana at the end. And after this beggar ate up this banana, he took away the peel. So that was okay. This beggar accepted. And then the next day, when he went to the temple, the sannyasi was there. Again, the sannyasi spotted this beggar, came near, and took me for some food. as we shared that food, at the end, the sannyasi took away this beggar's coconut shell. And the third day also this beggar felt that sannyasi was taking over, and this beggar knew it would not suit this beggar's father's work. So he slowly withdrew from the sannyasi. Just see, some people offer something to this beggar with conditions. Either they put conditions or they expect something out of it. It would be difficult for this beggar to be with them. This is the way they want to remember this beggar, by taking away this beggar's coconut shell. They would remember this beggar. What a way to remember this beggar. He said there was another time, one Mrs. Shankari had come with her husband, who was well versed in Shastras and who was also giving pravachan, lectures on Ramayana, Bhagavatam and other topics. Now they took the liberty with this beggar and they were playing a game. Shankari took this beggar's coconut shell, the empty coconut shell, and brought it to this beggar's mouth and said, "Eat it, eat it." This beggar had no idea why she was playing this game. Then she took it away. A few minutes after, again she brought it and kept it near this beggar's mouth and said, "Eat it, eat it." This beggar was a little disturbed and he looked at her husband, who is supposed to know better. But that man was smiling all the time. You see, these people do not know that they are playing with fire. This is the way they do something like this, which does not suit this beggar, and this is the way they could remember this beggar. That's what they say. So you see, when you move with great masters, one has to be very careful. One cannot take them for granted. One should wait for a nod or a word and listen to them and do exactly what they say, and that to their satisfaction. Bhagwan, the cosmic being, he is no individual like you and me. He is cosmic in his dimensions. Even a single thought of Bhagwan could have repercussions on the cosmic level. Always I had seen an intense atmosphere around him. It would be so intense that often I thought, if I so much as bring my hand down, there would be a crackling noise. Such was the intensity of the field around him. And if he placed a pebble or a cigarette paper or a piece of gooseberry somewhere that is not to be disturbed. It's being placed with a certain purpose. And it would be working at different levels of the cosmos. If anyone should come carelessly and without any sensitivity to his work, should just move it away, even a millimeter, he would scream and say, "Oh, you have spoiled my father's work." They do some work to change the course of events that would harm people, and in order to change, they do their work. But if anyone should intervene with sheer carelessness and move whatever he placed at any point with the sankalpa, it would definitely affect the effect of his sankalpa. So one had to be very, very careful with him, not to disturb his work at any moment, in any event. So, Bhagwan was talking about all these things, how people take him for granted and play with him, just to remember. They say afterwards, "We did this so that we could remember you." So Bhagwan was giving a warning. And then his topic turned to the medicines. Bhagwan said, our ancient rishis, out of their divya drishti, their divine vision, they have formed the Siddha and Ayurvedic systems. There is no disease which cannot be cured by Siddha medicine or Ayurvedic system. Everything is in it. But then our people resort to allopathy for some quick relief. And in so doing, there will be side effects and some other effect also. It might even aggravate something else. But then our people are not able to appreciate the ancient systems, the Siddha system and Ayurvedic system. They go after the modern allopathy medicines. But fortunately, the Westerners are turning towards the Siddha and Ayurvedic medicine. Bhagwan mentioned one doctor, Balramaya, a Siddha doctor, going abroad to teach those foreigners the Siddha way, the Siddha system of medicine and treatment. So Bhagwan smiled mockingly. Now that the Westerners have turned to our ancient Siddha and Ayurvedic systems, our own people would begin to follow too. It has to come through the Westerners to be impressed upon the minds of the present generations. And again, Bhagwan emphasized, there is no disease that cannot be cured by Siddha system or Ayurvedic system. And then Bhagwan turned the topic to Vedas. he said, these days, girls are not coming forward to marry a Veda Vidyarthi or Vedic Pandit. They prefer engineers, doctors, computer scientists, and so on. They do not understand the worth of Vedic Pandits. Just as India has its own constitution, the Constitution of India, the Vedas form the constitution of the entire humanity. When Vedic Pandits go sit in one place and chant the Vedas, recite the Vedas, it would do good to the entire world. Even if they do not know the meaning, it doesn't matter. When they recite the Vedas, the very sound of the Vedas would bring about growth and development to the whole world. It will bring in divine energy to the world. It will bring about peace and wealth and all-round welfare to the entire humanity. Such is the greatness, such is the glory of the Vedas. They should be, the Vedic Brahmins should be well respected and well looked after. India's culture is rooted in Vedas. Those Veda mantras have been found by ancient rishis from the sky. They have come from the Supreme God Himself. The Veda mantras have such power and glory. And then Bhagavan went on to say, Shri Kanchi Paramacharya, his main mission was to protect the Vedas and the Vedic Pandits. And he was doing it day and night, working so hard that the world should be grateful to someone like Paramacharya, who has come down to re-establish the power of the Vedas, the glory of the Vedas. And then Bhagavan said, recently Paramacharya conducted Atirudra Yagna. But many people criticized it, saying that money could be spent for feeding the poor. Then Paramacharya said, how can you say this is a waste? When you plant the paddy seeds in the field with the expectation that one day you will be able to harvest it, that it will yield a good harvest. Can people say that they are wasting those paddy seeds? They could be made into rice and that could be fed to the poor? It's only when we plant the seed we can do the harvesting. We can benefit from it. How can anybody say this is a waste? This will be a yield like this. When we do Homa, according to the Shastras, the deities, the Devatas are propitiated. With the result, they bring about the seasonal changes promptly. And accordingly, they would bring about the welfare for the entire humanity. The rain will not miss its season. every season would be repeated with the richness of the Devata. And it means a high welfare for the entire humanity. So these Devatas have to be propitiated. In fact, Bhagavan said, these homas and yagyas have to be done periodically, just for the sake, for the welfare and peace of the entire world, entire humanity. Bhagavan repeatedly emphasized upon the importance of the yagas and yagnas and propitiation of the Devatas. And so he was saying, he was also adding another point. He said, this beggar cannot go here and there to spread the importance of Vedas. This beggar cannot go here and there for the protection of Vedic Pandits. But this beggar's words would work. My father would see to it that this beggar's words come true. My words would be supported by the Supreme, and that will get the work done. So Bhagavan was saying that the Indian culture is rooted in Vedas. Yesterday we saw how one Nama, Rama, will benefit the whole world. It is a definite service to the entire mankind. Utterance of one single Nama of the Divine is a great benefit to the entire mankind. And today, Bhagwan was declaring, today we see how Bhagwan was declaring that the Vedic recitals, how it could benefit the entire mankind. So you see this Nama and Vedas, they have been designed by the Supreme God for the welfare of the world. Both are important. And this Bhagavan when he was declaring the importance of the Vedas, Bhagavan also added this. He said, everything is contained in Vedas. Every knowledge of every science can be found in the Vedas. There is nothing outside the Vedas. And the Westerners have found it out, and they are slowly turning towards the Vedas for deeper knowledge of their subjects. So Bhagavan again and again declared the importance of the Vedas, how every knowledge of every science is contained in them. We just have to tap it deeply and learn. Now the Westerners have started, Bhagavan added, so the Indians would follow. And then he smiled. Now this Bhagavan is here in front of us. With his raised hand in benediction, and there's a constant flow of grace from him. And there is a smile playing on the lips. And his eyes are focused upon the Brahmarandra, a deep samadhi state. Yet, it has flowered into compassion for the humanity, and that's why the raised hand in benediction. to this Bhagwan, we shall offer our today's prayers. Bhagwan, we beg you again and again for your immediate divine intervention to free the entire humanity from this Rakshasic virus and bring back normalcy based upon dharma. People should change their values, that people live any way they like, finding a philosophy to suit their way of life. Instead, they should begin to live for a philosophy. And Bhagwan kindly uproot this panic from the hearts of people, which is doing more harm than the disease, and stop the spread of the disease. Enter those medicines so that they would work. And please protect all those great souls who are laboring against all odds, fighting the disease for the sake of the others. And we beg you for a boost to our economy. And above all, we should remember your Nama constantly. And Bhagwan, just as you pronounced, let us learn to be good instruments in your hands and go about our everyday life. When Bhagwan was in Sannadhi Street, he made this declaration also. He said, you see Rama of Ramayana, his whole life was an embodiment of dharma. People have to follow the way he lived. Whereas Krishna taught Bhagavad Gita, one should follow what he taught. One should not imitate Krishna's life. One should imitate Rama's life, the way he lived. He lived the dharma, every bit of the way. And one should follow Krishna's teachings, not his life. And then he laughed and said, this beggar has no conscience. You people have conscience, but this beggar has no mind, no conscience. Father has taken over this beggar, and it is he who is controlling this beggar, his word, thought, and deed. You people do not imitate the life of this beggar. Do not imitate the cigarette smoking just because this beggar is doing it. You have to take bath every day. This beggar cannot take bath. This beggar has no time to take bath. This beggar has not taken bath for years now. This beggar is dirty, bad, mad. Do not follow this beggar, but follow what this beggar says. Make Nama the center of your life. Serve the great master to his satisfaction. Keep offering everything. Whatever action you do, offer it to him. He is the real doer. Knowing it, you offer your actions to him, action flowers at his feet. Decide that you want to live for the sake of this beggar in Tiruvannamalai, and keep offering everything that you do to this beggar. This would be your greatest seva to this beggar. Keep chanting the name. So let us follow the teachings. Bhagwan often said, take up one teaching and practice it all your life. and you will get there. So let us follow Bhagwan's teachings as much as possible, the constant remembrance of his name, and the attitude of being a good instrument in his hands, and that with gratitude. And above all, Bhagwan has said everything happens only by God's will, and therefore everything is God's grace. Bhagwan, you please bless us with this attitude of looking upon every happening of life as a blessing from you. Jai Yogi Ramsuratkumar.